Extra baggage fees. An excellent service, not extra fees, is what Transport Minister Anita Anand says Canadians expect from our airlines after Air Canada announced new costs for some passengers. So starting January 3rd, passengers flying on the cheapest basic fares will have to pay $35 for their first carry-on and then an additional $50 for the second. If passengers try to board with a bag that they didn't pay for, well, they're going to be charged a $65 fee per item. So Gabor Lukacs is the president of Air Passenger Rights. He's our guest this morning from Halifax. Good morning.
Good morning.
Air Canada has said that these changes are, quote, a commercial decision. They're trying to be competitive. What problem is the airline trying to solve by charging for carry-ons now?
The airline is trying to solve its cash flow problem first and foremost. This type of fees are junk fees, as they call them, south of the border, and they are just adding to the cost of air travel. The fundamental issue from a passenger perspective is that you should be able to know exactly how much your trip is going to cost you when you purchase a ticket. That is a fundamental right of passengers, and charging such junk fees deprives passengers of being able to exactly know, not just adding up the math, but mentally to be able to compare different prices in an effective manner and make an informed decision.
Rules around carry-ons for low fares vary between airlines. We put some of them together for everybody. Passengers with WestJet's new ultra basic fare cannot bring or buy a carry-on unless they get a different fare. So they've kept it separate. Sunwing charges $25 per carry-on, while Flair carry-ons start at $29. Not only how are airlines allowed to do this, but how do you explain the difference in the Air Canada baggage charge?
That was a commercial decision of how much more junk fees they are trying to charge. I guess the idea is if you buy Air Canada anyway, then they feel that they can charge this much. That's really a marketing question, but the ultimate question is, are those fees legitimate? In my view, they are not. They are not illegal per se, but certainly there is a lot to be said about requiring the airlines to incorporate these fees in their transportation fee and perhaps give a discount to passengers who choose not to carry on.
Gabor, what's your response? Airlines frame this as we are actually giving passengers more choice. They can have a basic fare. They can choose how much they want to pay instead of having a standard fare for a regular ticket. What do you say to that?
Airlines could give passengers discounts if they choose not to have baggage, if they choose not to have a carry-on, and that's nothing wrong with about that. The problem here is a drip, drip, drip effect, that you buy a ticket and you think that you are going to actually get from A to B, but then you have some airlines charge you even a boarding pass fee, a seat selection fee, a baggage fee, a carry-on fee. You're talking about a number of items that add up, and ultimately the purpose of consumer protection is that passengers will know how much they have to pay to get from A to B, and it will be transparent, that when you just look at an ad, you will know how much it's going to cost you. Just think of a family of 4 people. When you add all these fees, it does add up to thousands of dollars.
Transport Minister Anita Anand says she's going to summon Canada's airline CEOs for a meeting on the fees that they charge. That's happening later in December. What action would you like to see from Ottawa on this?
Unfortunately, the current government has a dismal track record on passenger rights. They are saying the right things, but at the same time sabotaging Parliament's will to protect consumers. What could be done here is a quick and efficient amendment by Cabinet of their passenger protection regulations to deal with how prices are being advertised. That's really the issue here. There's nothing to prevent an airline from charging as much as they want for a ticket, but how they present it, how they break it down, how they advertise it, that is regulated. And Cabinet has the authority under the law to fix it. Usually what we hear from the government is that they are waiting for the Canadian Transportation Agency for any fix. That is unfortunately a lie. The truth is that Cabinet has all the powers under Section 40 of the Canada Transportation Act to amend the regulation, their passenger protection regulation, anytime they want. They just don't want to do it.
We'll have to see what happens coming out of that meeting and hear what the airlines have to say. Gabor, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
If you liked that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.